What is the best/worst party foul moment you have ever witnessed? I saw a guy snort a whole Xanax then throw a pool stick through a flat screen. I don't know if that counts. It does. A friend of mine threw a party at his house a few years back. The house was split up into apartments, the first floor being one apartment and the second floor being another. Both floors had a deck out back, one right above the other. I'm out in the backyard smoking a cigarette and talking to someone. I look over to see a few people drinking immediately behind the first floor deck. I happen to look up at the second floor deck, to see someone walk out. He then proceeds to whip his dick out and piss off the back of the deck, onto the group of people below. I know a guy that wiped his ass with a nice white face towel in my friend's washroom because he was too lazy to look for toilet paper in the drawers beneath the sink. Also been to several parties where people got mashed and just tore the ducking house up, stealing and breaking shit for the hell of it. That to me is the ultimate party foul. If someone is kind and gracious enough to offer you a roof to get drunk under, snacks, seating and company, you better damn well leave the place in relatively good condition. I was at a party in an apartment complex. I stepped out to the backyard for a smoke when I had a powerful urge to piss. I was already hammered at this point and didn't give a duck, had only one shoe on, for instance, and I found a nice remote corner in which to relieve myself. Now I'm done. I suddenly hear the door to the backyard smash open and hear, "What the duck are you doing?" I zip up and turn around to find the super. Now, this super was already a legend for being an asshole. But that night, he was getting ready to hit the town, and being the middle-aged Romanian he is, he had a 70s tuxedo-style shirt on with the buttons down to his chest. He had his hair slicked back and was sporting a huge gold chain, Miami Vice style. I freeze. Think, Flying Dutchman, think. I just stammer. No English. What did you say? No English. Me no English. I'm Asian. I'm saying this in my most broken Chinese accent imitation, helped on by untold shots of Jameson. Where are you from? China, says I. No you duck. What apartment? Now my English breaks down utterly and I still gesturing and pointing and saying shit like, my friend. His friend. His place. Up there. After 5 minutes of this he glares at me and kicks my ass out of the apartment complex. Which is fine, except I'm wearing one shoe, don't have my keys, wallet, or phone. I see the super lock the front door and the backyard door. I have no way to contact my friends at this point. So I walk across to the neighborhood bar. The bartender kinda recognizes me. I explain my situation and he just shakes his head and gives me a pint of beer. He lets me use the phone to call my friends but they're already too hammered to pick up. So I end the night standing across the street from the apartment building, hiding in the shadows of a tree so that the super doesn't spot me, and waiting for anyone, to enter the building so I can sneak in behind him. Later on, my friend tells me the super went around asking everyone if they knew the pissing Chinaman. TLDR, alcohol turned me into a one-shoot illegal immigrant. In grad school a few friends moved into a house together in their second year. The house was a death trap waiting to happen, but that is another story. They threw a party a few weeks after getting their keys, and for some unknown reason a group of 10 to 12 freshmen had caught wind of the party and just showed up to get drunk. I arrived late to the party with some friends and immediately noticed two things. A. It is a complete sausage fest, all of the freshmen that arrived are male. B. The faint but very distinct smell of poop invades my nostrils as soon as I open the door. Not dog shit or cat shit, human shit. I guess that is the curse of having a very sensitive nose. I seek out one of the hosts, Will, and he gathers his roommates to make sure no one has clogged a toilet or upper decked them. All of the bathrooms are clear, yet the smell remains and it is growing stronger. My friend Alice, one of the very few women, figures out that the smell is coming from one of the freshmen in the living room that is drunk and dancing with a huge load of shit sloshing around in his pants. Not just a little poo, a huge saggy bulge that is clearly visible through the kid's khaki slacks. The smell in that room was overwhelming, but somehow, none of the freshmen seemed to notice or care. We all just stared at him slack-jawed for a minute before Alice just walks up to him and tells him he may have had an accident. He flips out and bolts out the door leaving little splotches of poop every time his foot hit the floor. The poop had run down his pants leg and was just beginning to drip off the cuff when we caught it. I left, they cleaned up and kicked out all the rest of the freshmen. A friend did a heroic job of finding a trash can to Ralph in last New Year's. Unfortunately, it was a mesh trash can. A friend was getting pissed off with the guy who was throwing a party, so when everything calmed down, and most people were gone or asleep, he got the butter. He microwaved the butter. Then poured the melted butter into a bowl. Then shat in the butter carton. Then poured in the melted butter, and let it set in the fridge. Then left. Edit, I was there, he shat. Maybe the butter didn't look right after, but I don't know, because we left. And yes, he got the idea from the urban legend. There was this guy on my swim team in college. Super nice guy, but terrible with women. He used to be really shy about changing in front of the rest of the guys in the locker room, and would always change under a towel while the majority of the rest of us wouldn't. Then one day the towel drops and we all see he's got a huge dick. At first we were all flabbergasted that this quiet semi-awkward prototypical nice guy was so well endowed. No one could keep it to themselves and pretty soon all the girls on the team knew about his big secret. At the next big swim team party, after a night of drunken teasing and congratulations, I think he felt emboldened, so in an attempt to distract the other team's opening shot at Beirut, beer pong, he whips his dick out and starts spinning it around helicopter style. His spinning dick accidentally knocks over all 6 of his team's cup and they instantly lost. I was at a party in high school at one of my loaded friend's house. She had a hot tub which a few of us noticed was being seriously underutilized. My friend's widely despised redneck girlfriend got in first and after I got a fresh beer, I stripped down to my boxers and made my way across the enormous back deck to the flush-set hot tub. As I stepped in, my foot slipped on the smooth fiberglass seat and my foot shot out to my side, right between redneck girl's legs. I actually felt my big toe penetrate her vag as I fell into the water. I managed to keep my beer level and above water. As soon as I got my head back above water, she screamed, "Ma cooter." I didn't stop laughing for a very long time and still yell that sometimes when I see that friend. I think I redeemed my drunken clumsiness by A, saving my fresh beer and B, eliciting such a ridiculous reaction. TLDR, I slipped getting into a hot tub, fell in said hot tub, kicked my friend's GF in the vag, who screamed "Ma cooter." Managed to hold on to my full beer. Watched a girl puke mid-beer pong throw all over the table then scream puke and rally. We all cheered, she was one of the last ones up. At a bar in Liverpool, UK, I was talking to my girlfriend at the foot of some stairs. Suddenly a guy fell forward down the stairs right between us, rolled onto his feet and walked away without missing a ducking beat. The best part was he was wearing a fur coat, sunglasses and a hat, carrying a drink and had a cigarette in his mouth. As he walked away his drink was unspilled and his cigarette remained firmly in his mouth. His hat and glasses were similarly undisturbed. Must have been some kind of party ninja pimp. Edit, noticed in an extra word. Beat a bunch of cocky dudes at beer pong with a hot girl as my partner. Proceeded to lift her up, with her straddling my waist, and gyrated, quite sexually, in triumph over the table. I was quite drunk so I dropped her and the cup/beer/tabletop went flying. A girl pooping her pants at the bar. I saw a girl, in a mini skirt, shit herself as she was being escorted out of a bar by 2 bouncers. I can only assume she was wearing a thong because what fell out has been affectionately referred to as the split log by the guys I was with. That's it. Enough internet for me today. Slam. My friend, when drunk, has a teensy bit of a vomit problem. He was angry and paranoid one night and started using his puke as a projectile to ward off people chasing him from behind. The same night, I was helping him relieve himself of vomit in the carpeted hallway of my dorm. A young gentleman shook his head as he passed by, saying that's just sick and continuing on to pee in the trash can opposite of us. I like my school. This is my best and worst put together. My friend had an old Prince Albert scar that he shot bottle rockets out of when he got drunk. One party he was in the kitchen and shot a bottle rocket out of his junk and it flew right through the living room. It hit my other friend right in the forehead and exploded just as he opened the front door to enter the party. He got a cut on his forehead and was freaked out/pissed until we explained, and then he almost died laughing. We sure were young and dumb. LT, doctor, friend shot a bottle rocket out of his dick and accidentally hit my other friend in the face with it. Sister came home from a hard night of partying and apparently had taken 4 consecutive shots of Wild Turkey 101 as she was leaving. Minutes later my brother comes bounding out of her bedroom saying, "You've gotta see this dude." We go into her bathroom to find her passed out in the fetal position, 1 foot from her toilet, with her skirt, but not panties, pulled halfway down to her knees, a large, firm turd halfway protruding from her underpants, resting gently on the inside of her thigh. We then call her ex-boyfriend to come clean up Mrs. Poopy. He comes over, cleans her up and put her to bed, at which point she begins to vomit all over herself and her white sheets, creating a pink vomit river, leading to the edge of her bed, resulting in a lovely vomit waterfall. I put a bucket under the waterfall and went to sleep. We were at a 21st birthday of this girl we knew. Things got a little out of hand and hot dogs started getting thrown. One hit me in the head, so I picked it up and proceeded to carry it to the kitchen. I opened up their refrigerator and found a 3/4 full gallon of milk. I opened it up and dropped the raw hot dog into the milk jug. I laughed so hard when I saw it drop from my hand into the opaque container. She called me a week later pissed as hell. She found it because it submarined into her cereal bowl. She had been using that milk for a week before that horrible day. Edit for spelling. Posted stories of this guy a couple of times. My college roommate, he knew how to party. A few of his gems. Got drunk as a skunk at the apartment with a bunch of friends. Me and those friends went on a beer run, left him alone. When we got back, the cat litter was filled to the brim with urine. He said, "Holy shit, you just missed it, that duck and cat pissed a lake," while he was choking back laughter. He was drunk dialing in a very destructive manner one particular night. He had my phone, and was calling people like my parents, bosses, ex-girlfriends. It was bad news. I was with some girl in my room and had no idea what was happening, but one of my buddies was on it. He took the phone and hid it in the freezer. Well, my roommate didn't give up and started looking until he found it, maybe an hour later. I was back out in the living room at this point, when we heard a bit of a pop, along with a bunch of other scary noises. Went into the kitchen and the microwave was on fire. He found the phone, noticed it was cold, and decided to heat it up. In the microwave. That was my damned phone. We were at a house party another night and he was, as usual, hammered. And he was causing damage, and getting to the point where people were worried that he would hurt himself. The host decided he needed a cold shower and some sober time, so he told him that he could drink more after the shower, sending him off to the bathroom. This ducking genius, the drunk roommate, locked us out of the bathroom and turned on the shower. Thought all was well until the shower was going for a good hour. Someone came to the party and said that the house next door had been TP'd pretty well. When we went outside to see it, we noticed the bathroom window, second story, mind you, was open. The ducker threw 20 rolls of TP out of the window, then jumped out after it. In his underwear. In December. In Michigan. He TP'd the place, then ran off to who the duck knows whereville. We went searching and found him wandering the streets, probably shortly before hypothermia would have set in. He was still fired up and ready to go TP more houses. On a camping trip, again, wasted. Right, that's how it always starts. He is yelling beer. Regularly, and drinking as much as possible. He decides to climb a tree. Gets pretty far up it, in the dark, while everyone else is pretty much ignoring him maybe 50 yards away by the campfire. He is climbing and intermittently yelling beer. We hear the following. Crack, 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 snap, thud. I figured he was likely injured pretty bad at that point. He'd climbed at least 20 feet up, probably more. So, we start heading that way, yelling, "Hey dude, are you okay?" With the girls clearly distressed. Out of the darkness, he bellows out, "Brr." I could write a book about this dude, those are probably the best though. Got very drunk and a little stoned in friend's backyard. Saw a light go on in his house, so we all got giggles scared and hid behind his above-ground pool. I don't know how we did it, but somehow all 5 of us leaned against it just right and it split open and tsunamied all over us. I thought the world was coming to an end. That's not a party foul, that's like a party extra point. Technically this is a party double reverse. Someone stole my only bottle of 2009 Dogfish Head 120-minute IPA from my cooler. This is a highly limited, yearly release beer that costs $10 to $15 for one little bottle, and I was saving it for that night, my birthday. Apparently, they didn't like it, because the next morning I found it open, but full, on the bathroom counter. I get pissed when I find open, full bottles of anything the next morning. I can't even imagine how you felt. Ever heard of a flaming Dr. Pepper? You pour a shot with amaretto and Everclear, light it on fire, drop it in a Coors Light, and down the whole thing at once. It does taste like Dr. Pepper and is a great way to get smashed. Anyway, I saw a guy spill the shot, after he lit it, on the tile floor of the kitchen. The freaking tile floor was on fire, and he spilled alcohol. Serious party foul. 11 a.m. on a Tuesday. Is it too early to try this? It's 2 a.m. somewhere in the world. Make sure to get some chili too. Went to a rave sometime in the late 90s. I think somebody thought pulling the fire alarm would result in sprinklers dousing the whole party. Nope. Fire marshal came in by and evacuated the building to inspect everything. Buzzkill. My buddy and I were doing some drinking at his friend's party, and my buddy, who is rowdy as duck drunk, slaps the host's GF in the gooch, which of course causes the host to try and fight my friend, but fortunately they were brothers and he was forgiven. However, he then proceeded to knock over the beer pong table mid-game, 20 cups of beer on the floor. The entire floor of the living room, hardwood, was covered in about half-inch of crappy beer. Good times. Then as we were dragging him home he tried to parkour everything including people's vehicles on the street. He ran full speed into a pickup truck and was covered in blood the next morning. He also attempted to scale our 5-story dorm, and ran full speed into a glass window that somehow did not break, well, anything but his face. About a year ago a close friend of mine who cannot handle her booze at all suddenly met the vomit monster. She ran to the toilet to throw up but there was a girl sitting on it. Instead of using the sink or bath my friend stuck her head right between these girls' legs and threw up in the toilet while she was sat on it, flailing in horror. My friend claims not to remember a thing and the poor toilet user subsequently became known as the Bucket. Thanks for listening to another episode of Reddit X. Subscribe and activate the notification bell so you won't miss any stories. Feel free to share your own stories below in the comments. Have a good day.